As the second season of Reacher on Prime Video draws to a close, it provides the audience with some much-needed answers. The 6th episode of the series explains the mysteries that have been building since the first episode. At the end of the episode, Reacher and his pals are left mourning the loss of a key member of their team. This one is for Russo of the New York Police Department. He didn't deserve to be gunned down by yet another group of thugs led by Shane Langston. Following the events of Reacher Episode 4, we began to have doubts about Russo because, although Reacher had reason to believe the detective, someone else was also leaking information to Langston regarding the whereabouts of the special investigators, and it appeared that this someone was Russo, which only worsened when Reacher and his pals were attacked in Boston when they hadn't told many people about their plans. Russo assures him that he didn't rat them out, but this only leaves one other person who knows of their whereabouts, which is Marsh. Marsh acknowledges that New Age contacted him when Russo confronted him. In exchange for disclosing information about Reacher and his research into the New Age, they offered him money. Marsh says he was forced to take the money because it was more of an order than an offer, and he doesn't appear to regret it because he was trying to convince Russo to do the same. But Russo is an honorable cop. Russo knows by the time he leaves the house that Marsh will eventually turn on him to New Age, and that's exactly what happened. Finally, Reacher and his team learn what Tony Swan was up to at New Age after fighting to keep their faith and doubts about him intact. Swan has not turned into a villain, as evidenced by the chat with Marlo Burns. He is the same person Reacher knew and trusted during their time working together, and he is relieved that this has finally been resolved so that they can stop debating it. Burns also shares some information that helps to put a lot of things into perspective. As would be predicted, New Age technology was not as secure as it had led people to believe. Reacher had been worried when he initially learned about the capabilities of the missiles, but they seemed unconcerned about who they were selling the missiles to. Swan chose to investigate after noticing several inconsistencies while working with the company. He included his buddies in the group, but things didn't work out well for them. Swan found that someone had manipulated the testing board to randomly flag operational chips as defective. They were instructed to carry on with business as usual even after the chip incident was brought to their attention. Dixon makes an educated guess as to how many chips there are, which was 650, and he was right. This demonstrates that the malfunction was really a pretense to get those 650 missiles out without raising any red flags about New Age's covert dealings with individuals such as AM. When it came to selling it to the highest bidder, in this case, AM, they could bury those missiles that were missing beneath the ones that malfunctioned because of defective chips. Swan and his companions suffered the consequences of trying to stop them after he discovered their scheme. Additionally, Langston warned Burns that she would get into trouble for her association with Swan, and that he and his allies might do a variety of bad things to her and her daughter. Knowing that Langston would view her as a liability when Neagley and Dixon arrived at New Age, she made the decision to flee before they could kill her. Reacher persuades Marlo to assist them in capturing Langston, and Marlo's daughter was taken to Detective Russo's house. Surprisingly, Langston and the group show up for the meeting. But as soon as Russo figures out he's being followed, a car starts shooting at him and Marlo's daughter. Just as Marlo was about to meet Langston, she learned that her daughter was in trouble and couldn't control herself. Reacher immediately pulls her out and sends the team to help Russo. Reacher eliminated each member of Langston's team one by one, and as he was about to get a hold of Langston, a helicopter came to his rescue. Dixon, O'Donnell, and Neagley race to find Russo but are unable to get there in time. Russo understands that the gunman will most likely kill Jane too if he doesn't take action quickly. Russo steps out into the open to assist her in fleeing the area, and is shot several times in the process. Neagley and the others come in time to run over the gunman and save Jane. However, Russo had already suffered fatal injuries at that moment. Neagley's attempt to console him and hold his hand demonstrates her concern for his well-being. It is obvious that assistance will not come in time, even as the sirens of the police blare in the background. Russo made this sacrifice by surrendering his life in an attempt to save an innocent girl. His father, a fellow police officer, also met a horrible end and most likely died in the same way. Although there is a slim chance that Russo will survive this episode, there is still some hope. It's unlikely that we'll see Russo again, and his passing will give Reacher more motivation to track down and murder Langston. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.